Now, give me, and Rob, I think this fella who I'm about to mention was a teammate of yours. The enigma that was Mark Viduka. He was agitating. I think he left for Leeds. Was it in the January or the end of that season? Am I right in saying that, John?
Yeah, he left when Martin O'Neill came. Martin realised. Because and the thing about Mark is, man, Robbie know Mark. He's a great player. He's a good lad. He's a bit flaky. And don't forget, the year before I came, he already ran back to Australia, if you remember. So at the start of the season when I came, he wasn't coming back. So I had to phone him in Australia and said, Mark, come back, come and play X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. And why that was because he didn't want to come to Celtic. When he left Croatia, Zagreb, whichever club it was, he wanted to go to Italy. But Celtic offered money up front. The Italian club wasn't. So they actually said to him, you've got to go to Celtic. So he came to Celtic. Things weren't going well. So, of course, he had a bit of a nervous breakdown. He left. But then when he came back as he had to, things started off really well because he's scoring goals with Henrik. Up until Henrik broke his leg, 4 points behind Rangers. He's winning 5-0. He's scoring. He's playing really well. Then all of a sudden, when Henrik broke his leg, he came in and he said, right, he wants a new contract. Or he said to me, I want a new contract, or I can leave on a free transfer. No, I can leave for what it was, 2 million. And I said, Mark, why is that? He said, because the chairman, when he left and he had a nervous breakdown, the chairman said to him, we want you to come back, give it a go. If you're not happy, you can go. That's what he said to him. So we didn't know this. So when Mark, all of a sudden, Henrik broke his leg, and Mark came in 2 weeks later to say he wants a new contract or he wants to go because the chairman said he could go if he's not happy. But I said, you are happy. You're scoring goals. You're playing well. He goes, well, the chairman said I could go. We didn't know this. So we went to the chairman and we said to the chairman, did you tell him that? He went, yeah, but it's not in writing. And I said, it doesn't matter if it's not in writing or not. Once he gets it in his head. So from then, he down tools. So there we are, 4 points off the top. This is December. We lost Larson. We lost Lambert. He now doesn't want to play because he then, and of course, because I think that he knew he could earn more money elsewhere, and then he went to Leeds. So it was just not a happy camp. Now, the thing is that forget about how good you are. If the harmony is not right, you got no chance.
Dick, when you talk about, obviously, Viduka and like the harmony, you spell up at Celtic now. Everyone always talks about the Inverness Caledonian Thistle game.
Yeah.
Did he refuse to play that game or?
No,
or
at half time, he refused to go back on.
Wow.
Now, once again, you have to look at the character and how to. Now, Robbie, and someone right at the start, they asked me about was Graham Taylor, put his arm around you and stuff like that. No, because back then, as you know, the manager screams, shouts, you get on with it. Now, of course, as football changed, you've got to be careful how to speak to people. Now, what had happened was halftime, we're losing 1-0. We're not playing well. The harmony's not great, so everybody's unhappy. But anyway, we can beat Inverness Cali Thistle. Halftime comes, then he's in the dressing room, and Eric Black, my assistant, and of course, you would have heard this many times. This is what British managers say. And he goes to Mark, flipping hell, Mark. He said, you're cheating, because he wasn't trying. He goes, you call me a cheat? You call me a cheat? So you have to be careful how you speak to certain players. He then takes his top off, and I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm not playing. He says, I'm not going back out. He gets in the bath. I said, are you refusing to go and play in the second half? He goes, yes. That's when Wrighty had to come on, and Mark didn't go on. And after the game, it was like, what am I going to say to the press? Because we've lost the game now. A player refused to play. Do I say to the press? And of course, the chairman said, don't say anything because, you didn't want people to know that Mark had refused to play, blah, blah, blah. He said, you'll be fine. We'll ride this out. The fans are not going to be happy. But by the time we win next week against St. Mirren, it'll be fine. And they sacked me the next day.
And again, kind of an obvious answer to this would be no, but in a kind of weird, perverted way, John, did you enjoy your spell at Celtic?
I love the football because, of course, we're playing great football. We scored lots of goals. Yes, the fans were unhappy because there was a bit of an agenda, and, of course, in the press, you know what the press are like up there. They don't like you, you're not playing well. So I didn't like the politics of the club in terms of people wanting to interfere. The press situation was horrendous because I was just getting, even from managers up there. I remember Eddie Scovdale, we played against Aberdeen. The first game of the season, beat them 6-0 away. We played them, and we beat them 6-0, 5-0, and 7-0. 3 games we played, 3 games. Eddie Scovdale was still saying, they're a bit naive, he's a naive manager, blah, blah, blah. Rangers are stronger. And a lot of the managers, Bobby Williamson, I don't know if you know Bobby, he was the only one.
Kilmarnock, couldn't he?
Good guy. And he's the one who's the only one. He never supported me, but every time they were asking managers, because it's like, what do you think about John Barnes at Celtic? Oh, he's inexperienced, blah, blah, blah. Never mind, we're beating them. He was the only one. So there was always this thing about, am I the right man for the job? And even though we're playing well, We haven't got it right at the back, or we're conceding goals, but we've won most of the games, and it was just a horrible experience. That was a horrible experience of just everything being negative towards me. Even when, and in fact, I remember saying to my wife, I said to my wife, because the kids were going to go to fetish school in Edinburgh. I was going to live between Edinburgh and Scotland. And I remember, and this is, don't forget, we won 11 games, drew 1, lost 1. That's in the first 13 matches. After 6 games, when we'd won all the games, we lost 1, we won 6, and we're playing well. And we looked at a house and got the kids in school, and I phoned her up and I said, we don't get in a house here and the kids aren't coming up. He goes, because I won't last there. He goes, I will not be here by the end of the year. Because I knew if we're doing okay in the first 13 games, 1-11, drawn 1, lost 1, and I'm still getting all this stick. If we go through a sticky patch, as I'm bound to, I've got no chance. So I knew from the November that it wasn't going to last. And then, of course, Henrik broke his leg, and then I knew it was never going to last.
That's unbelievable, that, though. You think that when you think of, well, 1-6 out of 6, then you lost 1 in the first 13 games, and you knew deep down that you wasn't going to stay there long.
Absolutely. Unless we're going to continue to win every game, which you know you're not going to. You know what I mean? So I knew that as soon as you go through a sticky patch, that got no chance.
Dig, is that the expectations? Is that the expectations of Celtic as a club? Is that the expectations of the fans at Celtic? They just like demand and want you to win every single game.
Yeah, but don't forget, they will also give you, depending on whether you are affiliated to Celtic, if you're a local boy, you'll be given longer. Depending on whether they believe in you, whether they trust you, you'll be given longer. Don't forget, listen, as a manager, you're going to get the sack. Regardless of who you are, you lose enough games because you're going to get a little bit of stick now, which is ridiculous. But this happens. So I understand that. But if things are going okay and you're getting stick, you know when you go through a sticky patch. So it's not, and that is why Rangers have been fantastic. Because don't forget, this is Stephen's 3rd year. And for the Rangers managers previously, they were given 1 year, then sacked. But with Stephen, first year they didn't win, but then second year they didn't win. But because they knew he was the right person, and by sticking together, they could do what they did. They stuck with it. Whereas they're too quickly. And look at Jurgen. Don't forget Jurgen's first year at Liverpool, there was 25 points off the top. You know what I mean? But we believed him and we knew he could do it, so you give him more time and you trust him. And the players see that. Once the players see that the hierarchy are supporting you, they will do what they're told. If the players see that even the chairman and the directors, that they don't really trust you because they can speak to them, they know they haven't got to perform.
So Dick, the obvious question to that then is, well, who decides who you should and shouldn't trust then?
Well, the fans do, don't they? Because as much as you talk about the chairman and the owners, they're the ones who do hiring and firing. No, they don't. The fans do. Because every time you see a new manager come, the chairman, the directors, the owners, they've got the arm around him and they go, this is the right man for the job, we believe in him. But then all of a sudden, the fans then all of a sudden start to turn against you. They will turn against you. If the fans don't turn against you, they won't. And who are the fans influenced by? The fans are influenced by the press, the media, in terms of the narrative about how good you are and what you're doing. And then, of course, if you then have a situation which Steve Bruce is now having, that's now been coming out in the press about the problems leaking from the club. We had that at Celtic every week. Every week in the press, even when we won or we lost, you had stories coming from the club about he doesn't like John Barnes is doing this is wrong, coming from the players. And then when that happens, you got no chance.